Good evening, Africa. It's yet another Thursday where we talk about football on the continent of Africa. The program is This is African Football with me, Elasto Capoeja. Lots of exciting topics. I hope that every Thursday night you are tuning in to this podcast that, of course, I think is the one-stop shop where it just speaks about what actually takes place on the African continent. On the menu tonight is not different. We've got stories like the Nigerian Football Federation defending Joseph Yobo's appointment. I think you might have all followed the story. He has been roped in to be the third or second assistant, I may say, Amokachi. As well, things are happening there. Has he been appointed as the NFF technical director? The gentlemen are here to tell us, to confirm whether indeed that is the case. Morocco, we all know that the Champions League and the Confederations Cup are going to happen on neutral venue. Morocco submitting the bid to host. So many other countries have put their names in that hat. Morocco Botola League in Africa to implement VAR. Countries like South Africa, should they follow suit? It seems as if North, they're always kind of setting the trend and trendsetters. They've started already implementing VAR in their league programs. Ethics Committee rule out Kalusha Bwalya's presidential candidates. The guys are here. I can tell you they are ready. They can't wait. Yes, he has been missing in action, begged by public demand. Let me take this opportunity to introduce our guest, the panelists that know it all when you talk about this beautiful game on the African continent. Award-winning journalist Willem Nyandu is here. Timothy Patabaire, all the way from the east of the continent. He's here, of course. On the opposite side, it is none other than Gregi Tafia, hailing from West Africa. And of course, Jeff Katala completes this illustrious panelists that are going to unpack the stories. Gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the show. We never spoke about it last week because I know sometimes you guys, you like to talk, and some of these issues we end up just throwing them aside. But we brought this story back. It is about FIFA, of course, launching this global salary protection plan. It's a plan to try to make sure that those players that normally don't get to be paid their salaries, now they've got somewhere where they can go. There's a bit of protection, gentlemen. We saw FIFA announcing in collaboration with FIFPro to say that now those days should be over. Oh, how I wish this plan was brought forward, because some of us, we went through difficult times with salaries being withheld, clubs telling us that there's no money, and so forth. Of millions now, But they say it only goes back as far as 2015. So, but gentlemen, looking at it, Gregi Tafia, this is positive, isn't it? If you look at what FIFA is trying to do in terms of protecting players, we always suffer. The club tells you that, look, there's no money, we love the game, we continue playing, but you will never, as a player, you never tell the club that, look, but at home things are bad and everything. You always give your best. It's within our nature. But and something that has been exploited, taken advantage, especially nowadays. Yes, we witness, if you look at what has been happening in Kenya, there's been challenges when it comes to player salaries. Some games even not taking place. Teams, really having walkovers, all those kind of things. But now, FIFA looks like they are bringing something to try and cap that and say, look, as players, we can't always be at the receiving end.
Mr. Lasso, good evening, and good evening to our listeners. I just think it's a good idea, I just wish, this kind of approach would have started earlier, nowadays, because there's a lot of money we could have made. I just think this one is for African teams, most especially. I just think African teams will benefit from this because it happened not only in Kenya, in Nigeria too, and it's just a sad scenario, a lot of players, suffer through this
non-payment of salaries, signing on fees.
A lot of clubs, they take advantage of it, and the worst part is when you want to leave in Nigeria. I'm talking about Nigeria in particular. When you want to leave that club, they still asking for the clearance money in terms of when you leave to
yes,
go to
compensation,
now
they call it.
They don't even compensate. They want you to pay. They'll tell you that you still have a contract with the team, and which you don't have anything.
But that contract, it has been breached because there were non-payment of salaries.
No, so I just think what they are doing now, I just think is the right thing, is the right way to go.
Okay, Tim, as a player, again, let me start with you, players, former players. In terms of this plan, this collaboration between FIPRO and FIFA in trying to help. Yes, you might say that it's more prevalent in Africa, where many clubs really, I don't know whether it's a deliberate or it is just clubs that they just run out of money, may be difficult for the game in Africa in terms of those commitments financially. A contract, sometimes it becomes a piece of paper that is just written figures there, but you find that clubs sometimes don't necessarily honor those kind of contracts. But this should be a welcome development to try and help players, and maybe to make sure that there are times where even when you retire you look back and say, but there was that period where I was at a certain club but my money was owed, my signing on fees were never paid, but this is something that FIFA wants to change.
Look, I think I would love to first applaud FIFA for this gesture, at least for now, at least for players can rest assured that there's something to fall back to in case you are going through some challenges. And then it's prevalent also to know that they will have to prove that the club really is financially unstable to pay the players. So we have owners of clubs who just decide not to pay players, but they can afford to pay, but they refuse. But this, I think, will be, it is a step in the right direction. I'm interested to know the sanctions that can be accorded to the owners of these clubs who decide not to pay the players. If you look at what has been happening, especially on the African continent, it is very sad. And I think for players now, they can truly sign their contracts knowing that all their monies will be paid to them because there's a fund that they can appeal to. That's if they have got the resources and the representation to be able to attain the services of FIFA.
Now, very late, FIFA is setting aside 12.3 million pounds. That, of course, will be paid yearly to make sure that that protection is there for the players. But if you look at the ownership structure, you look at the causes of non-payment, they vary. You look at a case like the last 2 seasons, it made headlines. I'm talking about Bloemfontein Celtics. So all these things that are happening, what really goes through when a club is unable to pay its own players, its own employees? Yes, in a company, if it is a corporate company that is a profit-making company, of course, if you don't pay your employees, many times you find that they might leave. But in football, it's not as easy as that. Players still keep on playing, coming in, and so forth. But what are the reasons yourself that you'd say that these are the reasons that maybe clubs are unable to honor contracts that they might have committed?
I think it's been a while since.
Yes, welcome.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
You're supposed to be in that midfield.
A left-footed one. So I think it also goes with the rules in that particular country, especially with the league as well. And I think one of the good initiatives of FIFA, and I've seen it working perfectly here at home, the PSL Dispute Resolution Chamber.
Yes.
And I've had friends, not necessarily players, but also staff members at clubs. And if they go a month or even 2 months without being paid, they can take up that matter with the PSL DRC. And as much as previously I've heard that people have been complaining that the DRC has been pro players, I've seen a number of people who've managed to win their cases against the PSL DRC, especially the players and also the staff as well. And last week, on this very same matter, I had an interview with SAFPO president, Thulaganyo Gaushbelo, who's also the Fifth Pro Africa board member as well. And he was also saying, this initiative is also going to help them because there are clubs who would have been found guilty by the PSL DRC, but still they won't pay. And they won't pay because they are dodging. It's because their coffers have run dry. Because also the ownership structure, especially with what we've seen in the Glad Africa Championship, in the first division, you find that some of the guys who come in there, they're tenderpreneurs. You know, and when the coffers have run dry, the tenders are not coming in. There's no money. You know, and you find that there are clubs which you will be told that no, they've got a sponsor not being a corporate, but somebody who cannot be seen having to pump the money. You know what I'm talking about. You know, so these are the challenges that we're having. That the ownership. You know, I was reading a story one time of Kano Pillars, players playing not only in the Nigerian Professional League, but also playing in CAF competitions, and they went about 11 months unpaid. You know, so I feel that there's a combination of factors. The ownership structure, but also these remedies that we're having, the DRC, because the DRC would say pay the player. I know here in the PSL they go as far as, if the club is still not honoring that payment, they will deduct from the grant. So you find that maybe a PSL club that is supposed to get a 2 million grant at the end of the month, they end up getting only 600,000 rands, because at first they have to deduct that money and pay those people who need to be paid.
Jeff, coming to you, I think another criticism to this, because Timothy mentions about the sanctions, where a club, yes, they might end up deducting that money, whatever that is due to this club, but there are clubs as well that have actually closed shop and they come back with another name. So that is that is one criticism. But looking at
the rebrand,
but looking at Jeff,
the sponsor,
especially the ownership. I want us to focus on the ownership. I want to hear your thoughts. And maybe when somebody says he owns a club, are we not supposed to have some guarantees that, you know what, for you to be having this club playing in the professional ranks, can't you guarantee us, the professional body that is running this football in the country, that at least guarantee us that you've got the financial muscle to be able to honor whatever financial commitments? Why doesn't that happen in football on the African continent?
It doesn't happen just because we're not very professional.
Because
we're very amateur. But I will come to that. The example that Velile gave of PSL, it's a very good one. And everywhere I go, I praise PSL. Because PSL, since they came into existence, since 96, I can see the strides they are making. And there are a lot of problems. But coming from Africa and doing what they're doing, it's very, very laudable. But if someone comes with the money, says that I'm coming, I've got a team, I want to play in the first division, so I want, yes, he comes with the money, but he also wants the help of the federation or the league. The league must accompany him. How? The league must make the management of the league, the leadership of the league must work very hard to get sponsorship to accompany those people who are willing actually to get the teams there, to get the players and pay the players. But when we're coming back to the FIFA, I can hear that they talk from player perspective, but on management level, it's not a very, very, very good initiative. Why? Because team owners can do it on purpose, not to pay the players.
Because they know that
they will fall back on FIFA. So they will come with dubious reasons that we don't have this, whereas there's money. There could be money, but they don't want to pay because they know that they can fall back on FIFA. So for me, there should be some kind of requirement that you do, that you don't have to go necessarily to a disciplinary committee or something that has been established within the league. No, there should be another body outside of the league, very independent. Yes, to hear the matter on legal perspective, and only when they are convinced that the team is in the breach of the contract, then they can give the player a judgment that will be given out to FIFA to release the money for him and blacklist
this club.
That club.
Yes.
Yeah, because
you see
and
where
the owners.
Yes, and the owners.
Yes.
Even if they rebrand,
and the
it will still
owners of
follow
the
him.
club.
Yes, and you see
Yeah.
why I agree with Jeff on this one. And this is where now also the issue of club licensing comes in, because the club licensing will have its first insistence body, where they will evaluate to say, does this club meet the requirements to play in this league? Can we issue the license? So this should be the same body, the club insistence body, which will have to evaluate these different cases. And now we talk about blacklisting the owner. How many times we've seen, even here at home, okay, you see the owner, but then, okay, there will come a son or the daughter.
Yes.
Right?
I think we've
And
seen
then
but if-
how do you...
No, but if
how
you
do you
can
navigate
establish, if you can
around-
establish that's some kind of a descent, we won't give it to you.
It's
still the same.
It's difficult to establish because they are two different they are different people. So if they use the country laws, the constitutionality, you may not be able to pass that test because it's telling you, yes, I'm a son of so and so, but this is my own mandate. That's what I want. So it's quite difficult to try and navigate. But
it's a typical example.
FIFA has said they need to prove that really they have folded and they cannot afford to pay the player.
With
That's
typical
why
example with
there
the
should
Swallows.
be an
Let's go.
independent body outside of the league to judge on that.
Okay, but
To judge the
are we
merit.
not,
That was on the club side. That was coming from the
Management
the management side. That was from the club side, the owner of the club side.
Yeah.
But now the players.
Uh-huh.
But the players also are very crooks.
Yeah.
They're big liars.
No. John's right.
No.
Football players can't be trusted.
No, that's
Football
wrong.
players can't be
I
trusted.
disagree with that.
No.
I disagree with that.
Can we allow?
I
They go with the
disagree.
wind.
No.
Yeah, they go with the wind.
I want to
That is
understand
wrong.
why.
You cannot
why
paint-
you're saying.
you cannot paint us with the same brush. That I disagree.
Okay,
No,
some
because
football
a
players,
player
some football
carries
players.
the name as a player, but the player is represented by an agent that is including even the management. So when we are saying players are not reliable, we need to try and break it down and understand it better.
The scenario. Which was the scenario you want to give us in terms of a players one?
In 1997, I sold the American Impangi.
And then it's long time.
Yeah, to Santos.
Yeah.
To Santos with Gulamali.
Yes.
Yes.
That was before he came to Cosmos.
No, after Cosmos.
After Cosmos,
Yeah, after
yeah.
Cosmos and the Rovers.
Yes.
After Cosmos and the Rovers.
Yes.
We sat like this in Durban.
Yes.
We put everything on paper. He signs everything.
Yeah.
So he's got. This is your salary. 6 months after that, he took Ali to PSL. That no, we didn't agree with this kind of salary, and I was called in. Fortunately, I was there. What if other managers they'll just run away with the goal and they leave the player alone?
Yeah.
But that's a very long time ago. The current case, it is the case of Malanga of TP Mazembe going to Raja. He didn't complete his contract because they told him that you're going to get $30,000 per month, and that's why he ran away. And he had about 6 months left to complete his contract with TP Mazembe. It's only because of Moses Katumbi. He said, I know why he wants to go, because he needs money for his family. Please release him.
Yeah, but looking at all these gentlemen, I think that's where we also need to respect contracts. I would think so. That whatever that is happening, I'm sure there are guidelines in terms of those contractual agreement that binds both parties, because yes, players can be cunning as well, especially when there's that protection that comes from that piece of paper is not there.
And the and the managers as well accompanying the players. They will come to say no. Wow, yes, I told him that he's going to get 10,000. Please give him 4,000.
Yeah.
No, listen, it's an
think
interesting scenario, because the player will carry every nonsense that has been represented of him by the manager and by the club. We have got instances even where the club plays a role to try and get the player in, but by misrepresenting the figures. We have had examples of that. But for me, we also understand that many players cannot be able to read and write.
True.
So they do trust the managers to represent them. So it is in that moment where we have got a club trusting the manager to convince the player to sign for them. Now you get a manager who is conflicted by two clubs. They all want the player. And then the agent is trying to make a deal that benefits him than the player. So he's convincing the player to say this, because in that moment when there is a committee, when the player is facing the committee, the manager is no longer there. It's the player, because he signed. Now he has to own that document, but he does not have the knowledge of that contract.
All right, gentlemen. Maybe it's a good thing that FIFA is bringing this initiative, but I think the root cause, it seems as if still I'm not getting that sense that we are dealing with the root cause of that non-payment of players in the first instance. So hopefully, yes, maybe that could be looked at, the ownership structure that has been spoken about here on this platform. It is hashtag Frun Sports. Tell us your thoughts, whether players right now will be able, going forward, receiving this much needed protection, especially on those defaulting clubs when it comes to payment of salaries. Yes, we shift our attention, we move to the west. It is Nigeria, the defender appointed as the second assistant coach. Some have lamented the fact that, look, he doesn't have the correct qualifications. The coaching credentials are non-existent, pointed out by the head coach himself, Gino Roux. We are talking about Joseph Yobo. Greg Tiaf, the NFF, coming to their defense in this decision that they've made to say that, look, there is a reason why we've brought in Yobo, and it should be respected. So is it something that they were supposed to do before they appointed him, or now that there's been kind of a reaction from the fans of the Super Eagles, and some just, I think they
you always have, you always have a different opinion, and we spoke about this issue last week.
Yes, about the qualification that they needed. This man is the second highest player in terms of the caps, 100 caps. And you look at his winning the AFCON, playing 14 years playing in the Super Eagles.
You're talking about Nigerian equivalent in Uganda. That's supposed to be millions in terms of caps.
That on itself, Craig Tiaf. Now looking at the criticism. We spoke about it last week. That is it justified that some are saying that, but he lacks those qualifications. I think for me, I think 14 years in the national team setup, at the World Cup, how many times? No, I think for me that is more than any university you can go.
Yeah, sometimes you have people with their opinion, as I say earlier, but
of course it's going to go to school.
The FA, they're supposed to do this, which Jeff alluded to last week. They say that they're supposed to inform the coach. We all agree that they're supposed to inform the coach.
But what about the fans?
They need to give the fans some of the fans
they have
some of the fans they're with Yobo in terms of this appointment.
No, we know it is divided.
I think because now for them to come out to defend, because there's too much cry in terms of
they have to come out. So it's correct that they come
out. No. I mean, their opinion.
I'm saying the association,
the
federation.
They have to explain. No, they have to explain.
What is your stand on disappointment?
They say that he's not growing in the job.
Because so that is fine with you.
That is fine with you. We spoke about some who is that with the German
Beckenbauer.
But he won the.
Let me come to Timothy. So Timothy,
the national team.
You have dangerous. I mean, 160 million minus me, and others there. Everyone have opinion,
But you feel that is the right way for the federation to come and say
defend.
And explain.
Yeah.
Now, Timothy, looking at this issue, really, is there an issue with the appointment of Yobo?
Look, at this moment in time, from the explanation of Pinnick, I think it's right. First and foremost, it's going to be, I think, the second assistant.
Third, it's going to be third because Salisu is there.
It's going to be the third.
Yeah.
Now, being the third assistant coach is not required to have the qualifications by CAF. So he's covered. So the federation is saying that we can groom one of our own,
Yeah.
maybe it can be a Keshi going forward, because he has got the pedigree, he has won the trophies, and with his experience, at least it can rub off the upcoming young players of Nigeria that has coming. So they don't want to lose that experience.
Yeah.
They don't want to lose Yobo to that, and they are saying they will facilitate
Yeah.
him to try and get the qualifications. I hope he's more interested in getting facilitated to become better.
Who?
Because Yobo, because
For him to accept the
because
job,
no,
he knows that he's going to do those things.
no,
for
no,
him
no,
to get,
no, Etafia.
for him to get
If you read
forward.
between the
Alright.
lines at this moment in time, at least he should be able to show us 1 or 2 qualifications in that regard.
All right, Velile, you were not here last week. We spoke about this issue of the qualifications or not. Yobo says you'll bring changes to the national team. The federation have explained, they said that, look, for somebody with that experience, with the achievement that he has, he might be someone who can guide, someone who can be a role model to the young players that are coming through the structures. Yes, there are plans to make sure that he goes and attain those necessary badges that some of you are very passionate about. I don't know whether these badges make you a good coach or not. I still got doubt on that, but that's a topic for another day. But Yobo coming into the fold and saying that he will make a contribution, again I ask you, really, is he somebody? It's like a Lucas Radebe right now without coaching badges, and Safa decides to say that, look, we feel he should be part of the national team setup. Should this be an issue for such kind of a caliber of a player like these two gentlemen?
I think it should be always an issue.
Okay.
More especially when the cup competitions that are run by the football organization on this continent clearly stipulate that to have a coach sitting on the bench in the CAF Champions League, in the CAF Confed, at the AFCON, you should be having this type of a qualification.
Yeah.
So that should be the benchmark. That should be the standard. And we always talk about these things. So now, because this happens to be a Yobo, an accomplished former captain of the national team, now we must shift the goalposts and we should create rules that will just suit him. No,
but in the job,
we must follow the rules.
Yes, we must always have consistency.
All right.
And I'm saying this with full understanding of, you see, sometimes we over glorify a UEFA Pro license, because I stay on this continent. If we were to look at the last 3-4 coaches who've won the CAF Champions League, these are African son of the soils. Chabani, at Esperance, back to back. You go back to the year Pizzo Mosimane, and you go back to the year even after Pizzo when Widad, the old man who lifted, was it Benzati? Yeah.
And the Senegalese who won it with Tipi Mazembe.
With Tipi Mazembe as well. So they don't have a UEFA Pro license, and you must look at the coaches they beat for them to achieve this. But just to go back to Yobo, what you see, to give someone the opportunity to be a coach, you must have seen something. There must have been an initiative from him. And how many players you can see even before they retire, they go and do their badges. Those are the people who should be encouraged. Just because you've got a good name and you are a former captain, and you must have been encouraged by something that you see from this player to say, you know what, we could see even towards his retirement that this one wants to coach. But now, you see, we have a serious problem. We have a serious problem of officials on our continent who are starstruck by these guys. They're starstruck.
No, I understand that. Okay, Jeff, let me bring you in there with this issue of Yobo. You touched on it. You gave us an example of some of the successes with or without the qualification. But of course, Velile is tilting on the side that maybe there must be something that tells us that this individual is interested to go this route of coaching. But again, it's a Yobo who he hasn't coached anywhere. Yes, very good analyst when you listen to him on TV. But some are saying that cannot make him a coach.
No. So analyzing and coaching, two different things.
Yes.
You cannot compare them. As I said, For me, if he has the capacity and the capability to manage the egos of the players in the national team, yes. If he has those skills, yes. But if it was about me to decide, no, I would have picked up the former coach. What's his name?
So you wouldn't have gone with
Mama? No.
Eguivo.
No, Eguivo, no, not even him. He can't talk.
Okay, as you are thinking, you let us know.
Number 6.
You let us know. Olise.
Sunday Olise.
But he was there.
He was there just because he was very strict. That's why
his principle, his integrity could not succeed in Nigeria.
Yes, but that's why they couldn't stand him. Yes, because he was sticking to what he was saying. And if I was Geno Raw, I would have resigned because they've appointed him without contacting me. I'm the one who has the final say. Yes, I would have resigned if I was the national coach.
That's the Super Eagles you're talking about.
Because
when
Shevchenko was brought to Chelsea, Mourinho didn't ask him.
Okay.
He didn't ask for him to come to Chelsea because he's friend of the Abramovich, and he called him to come to the club.
But Jeff, do you know why they won't resign?
Yeah.
Do you know why the likes of Jean Draw and some of them they won't resign? Because we were talking about Stuart Baxter, right? When did he resign here?
Just
after the
AFCON.
Does he have a job now?
No. But
okay.
It's not for Genoa,
it's a matter of different story. No. It's a matter of a principle. It's a matter of a principle.
Timothy,
it's not about
to get a job is not easy.
No.
For someone who has coached, you know that he coached Zidane.
Jeff,
you know that he coached Zidane. He played in the final of the Europa League.
But if you have something in hand,
guys, repeat up, gentlemen.
Irrespective of how good you are.
We need to move.
It is the principle.
Yeah.
So the principle is they have made a wrong decision. They have appointed assistant.
No, by now they have resolved that issue.
Resign. The principle remains.
By now,
the principle
they made mistake not to tell him. But by now, that issue of
they might have apologized to the coach.
Apologize to him.
All right, okay, let's move.
What's his name? Yobo.
In Nigeria,
let's give him a chance.
Okay, talk about. I want to hear from you, Jeff, as well as. Now, there's another appointment. I'm not sure whether we can confirm it or not. That Daniel Amokachi might have been roped in as a technical director.
No.
If that has happened, can you confirm it?
Yeah, it's not. It's
not.
It's a mistake.
It's
just journalists. He's the one.
The story.
He posted something on Instagram.
The right story is the president of Nigeria appointed Daniel Amokachi.
No, he didn't.
Nigerian football ambassador.
Nigerian
football ambassador.
That's the president.
Yes.
Or not the FA president.
Okay, not the FA. But okay,
we're talking about the technical. We're talking about technical.
Let me rephrase the question.
Yeah.
Would it be a problem if Amokachi is appointed as a technical director?
Yes, for me it's a problem.
Why to be the
because to be a technical director, the technical director is above the coach of the national team.
Okay.
The technical
above in which way?
Above in terms that he supervises.
He's the boss of the coach.
Yes, he supervises everything.
Okay.
And from underage categories, even some clubs in the league, because he has to come with a philosophy on how you want the youngsters to be groomed, how they're going to graduate, how they're going to participate to international competition, even local competition, even African competitions, in order to keep the flag of the country running. Actually, he's the boss who makes football be in that particular country, and you cannot take
Mr. Lester.
So what kind of a person?
Somebody has this job already.
It will be someone like
no, there's somebody in this job already. Bitrus Biron is the one. He took over Shaibu.
He's there.
Now when Shaibu passed away,
he's doing a good job.
He's doing a good job, and you see how
he's not doing a good job.
No, so Nigeria is not good. Nigeria is playing a lot. When Nigeria went to World Cup, Nigeria is playing good football. We have good youngsters. National team, there's no age cheating. The senior national team, you can play. The senior national team, anyone can play. There's no age cheating.
You see. Let me give you an example. You see in Germany when Klinsmann resigned as the coach of Germany after they were kicked out by, I think that was Argentina, had a World Cup. he came with the roadmap and he said that don't sack Joachim Low, take that one to be the technical director, implement this from the second division up to the first division. In 10 years, Germany.
But Mr. Jeff, Nigerian football, we have gone to the World Cup, Nations Cup, and progress.
Ethiopia.
No,
Ethiopia.
At least we're better than we're going there.
You can't even win waffle.
No, okay, that was a different. It's a different distance because
this is where you should.
But you cannot win everything, Jeff. Waffle. You play against Ivory Coast, Cameroon. It's fine. It's a two-legged game. You go away, they rob you, which they do that every time in.
No. The final tournament was in. It should be Niger.
All right, gentlemen. All right, guys. Okay, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
I was just I think it's just a different of opinion, but looks like a lot of some changes there. But in terms of the technical director, definitely you've confirmed that Daniel Amokachi won't be. All right, it is #Frun Sports. It is heating up in here as we continue with our discussion. We want to hear from you as well. If you are listening wherever you are on the African continent, as we now look and shift our attention to the CAF Champions League, we all had resolutions of CAF to say that these should be one-legged affairs. We discussed them. Some thought it's a good move. Some thought definitely we are out of order because this has been tried and tested. Jeff, before, I understand 1994, there was a match here in South Africa. But it never actually got the attention it deserved.
There were 200 guys.
Yeah, they were just maybe if you look at 1994 and now you look at now is 2020, maybe things have changed. So gentlemen, there are some couple of countries that have raised their hand up, Jeff, in terms of wanting to host these two CAF competitions. Morocco, one of them, Tunisia. Velile might need to confirm whether South Africa is one of those nations. Yes, I think deadline was today. Very short time frame that was given for countries to come up and put up this bid to make sure that they can convince CAF. But your thoughts on all these countries so far that have shown interest?
Well, the initiative in itself, I don't buy it. I don't condone it. The thing of one leg to funnel, just like in the UEFA. No, it won't work in Africa. Who's going to attend it? Because it's too costly to go to those countries. And look, I can take the example of South American CONMEBOL. CONMEBOL, I watched the final between Buenos Aires and the Independiente of Uruguay.
Yes.
You could see they play home and away.
Yes.
So you could see, people were there. People were there. How come in Africa we haven't even managed to do that on a home and away, but we want them to come to one-legged final?
Okay, Velile, I think this issue, maybe we might need you to confirm for us whether there's been talk that SAFA might be one of those countries bidding to host these two competitions. What are you hearing?
Yeah, no, I think I was surprised when I heard this, because previously from my engagement with some people there and knowing the locals, especially when it comes to African football, and we can see this even through their teams sometimes, it's not people who go out, so I had overheard some people there saying, no,
unless Liverpool comes.
Yeah. And they were saying, no, we'll not touch these games. But if I understand the statement that was made by the SAFA acting CEO, was that if one of the cities is showing interest, only then that they will push. But I don't think in this short notice
they can do that.
And I know one city, and we all know that city.
That's Durban.
Yes, they're always ready. Even next month, that city is hosting the World Football Conference, World Football Summit. So they'll be hosting the World here. But no, this one.
So
and I also feel that CAF here, they know where they want to go. I mean, they went to Rwanda
Yes.
to meet Kagame there. They know where they want to go.
Yeah.
And Morocco, I think, is one of the serious candidates to host one of the. But I don't think, because I've seen Morocco and Tunisia, they are bidding for both.
Yeah.
But I don't think they are going to award both into one country. But I want to go back to the 1994 one. I think it was always going to be suicidal to bring that cup final here, because South Africa had only been back in CAF competitions for a year.
Yes.
And even now, one of the reasons I feel that these two cup finals must not come here, in the sub-Saharan Africa, we're not watching African football through this Lagadia thing. Then how do you bring a cup final here? How are you going to promote it leading to the final? Because the people are not watching. They don't even know the teams that are doing well. Because we must not base this thing on the fact that no people are able to stream this thing, because we've got serious data issues here. You know,
not only here.
You know, I would rather reserve the 350 megabytes I've got, you know, for my Twitter and also my WhatsApp the whole week, than just watch a football match and then within 5 minutes my 350 megabytes is depleted.
All right, Tim. Just looking at what the gentlemen have said, both Velile and Jeff, is Africa ready to have a neutral venue when it comes to these two competitions, in your opinion?
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Why?
One, the logistics don't favor us. Two, our management structure does not favor it too. We cannot even afford to convince our own fans to get into the stadium to watch a home game. How then are we going to convince them to fly from Uganda to come to South Africa?
Timothy,
and play finals.
AFCON.
Even AFCON, we cannot even fly to Egypt and fill up the stadium to watch the game. So how do you start even coming up with such an idea? So it has to start home. We need to get the fans into the stadium. It has to be a culture that is inculcated into the fans to get that. Then after that, you can talk of that so-called one-legged final. One-legged finals is for well-to-do clubs. Like North Africa, they can speak of that, where they'll have 30,000 fans coming to South Africa to watch Al Hilal playing against Sundowns. They can afford that. They've got the resources and they are passionate about their clubs playing. So they will follow their club. So Africa, I would safely say, we are not yet ready.
Greg Itafia, we are accused at times of wanting to emulate our European counterparts, but if you talk about marketing that game, they've done very well on that front. At the moment, just access to watch a simple Champions League game, there are certain countries that don't even know that competition exists. So you could see that we are far away from creating that frenzy, that excitement that you'd need for such an important game as a CAF Champions League final. So would you say that it's something that is in a pipe dream that we must just revert back? We know we are good at reverting back.
Yeah, I know.
We went January, February, June, July.
Anything can happen.
So maybe we can try to just go back until such a time where this competition, the Champions League, the Confederations Cup, becomes a true African competition in terms of accessibility, in terms of us actually being proud about the players that participate in this. But at the moment, we are far from that.
At the moment, Elasto, there's a lot of things need to be done. We don't need to copy the Europeans in everything they do, because most of the cities, they're closed. You go from Belgium to Holland, you just with the train and all this stuff. In Africa, it's difficult for someone to go to the embassy now to go and get a visa to travel to Rwanda. It's take you. I mean, you have to apply and
go to Europe first, then come back to Africa.
So I just think the two-legged one was the better way, because first of all, you play a home game, you get feel.
And Greg, when you say that Europe, we copy Europe, but Europe have done that before. They have marketed the competition. Yes. We in Africa, never ever we've seen marketing committee of CAF taking the trophy, going to each and every country that are taking place in qualifying.
Yeah, no, I think that's the thing.
And they decide the host of the final at the beginning of the year, or even a season before.
A season before,
people
we
can
knew
prepare.
already that
By
this
now,
Champions
we don't
League.
even know where that competition is going
But
to happen.
And the final is in 2 months' time.
And now, how do you get a visa?
All right, gentlemen, that's why they want government guarantees. Let's move on. They are in Morocco. Again, the first league in Africa to implement VAR. North Africa, like I said in my introduction, that yes, they are leading, starting there, Velile. We spoke about this some other time, but as more countries start introducing VAR in their leagues, it puts pressure on leagues, well-established leagues like the PSL.
Yeah, if this was just going to be, you see, it's easier in other leagues to do this, because you've got an FA which is also running the league. Here in South Africa, it's a different case, because VAR is a competency of
PSL.
SAFA.
It's SAFA, yeah.
Because VAR falls under the referees.
Yes.
So the referees are handled by
SAFA.
SAFA. SAFA obviously don't have money.
But they can bring out the money. They can find it.
So now it's the PSL. You'll find that it's the PSL that has been doing the research. And last year, I think it was in the AGM in November, we engaged the chairman of the PSL, Dr. Koza, on this.
Yes.
And from our interview, he appeared to be someone who was ready.
Excited.
It was just a matter of them going into. I understand that I think this month there's supposed to be a PSL SAFA Joint Liaison Committee meeting, where VAR is one of the top agenda points around this issue. But I'm told that it's also costly.
Yes.
Logistics
behind it.
It's about
and apparently
1.3 million US dollars a season.
But you can manage it now.
I heard that I don't know, the acting CEO of SAFA was saying part of also the research they've been doing, they could be required to spend around 80 million rands in just one season. And also depending on what type of VR they need to have. Remember, PSL clubs don't own stadia.
No, but
because
at that point now,
some of it you'll have to install it permanently.
Install it permanently in the stadium. They said to stay there.
Now,
and this is not just stadium.
There are
other events that take place that stadium.
Exactly. And how many times some teams will have to change stadium.
And security as well. Some people would want to come in.
Exactly. So this is why I'm saying,
schools are struggling to just have computers.
Exactly. So there are a lot of factors around this, and this is why I say, sometimes it's good to take these concepts that are coming from Europe.
Yes.
But they don't automatically work in Africa.
But
it's just like the club licensing. I feel that the club licensing should be tailor-made
for
Africa.
Yes.
You cannot take the club licensing
as it is copied
based on the European and then you
model.
Because in Africa, very few clubs own stadium. Even here in South Africa,
they don't even have offices.
Exactly.
The offices are in the boot of the car.
But don't you think?
Don't you think as we move on?
But
still, in terms of VAR, it's not the end of the world. It's not a train smash to have a league without VAR. It can still be flourishing, still can be a viable league. As it is right now, the PSL.
So what VAR is
without VAR, isn't it?
No, but there's some decision that can help. Some clubs. With the VAR something. In terms of.
Or we can apply it like the AFCON where they did, starting it from another stage. Maybe we say
for example, let me just give an example like in South Africa.
But it has to.
We say the last 8 games.
But it has to. But it has to.
But you see in South Africa they can do it. Let me just give an example. Like you said, SAFA they don't have money. Money can come. Money can come from somewhere if you really need to do something. They can install it. For instance, you can install it in FMB.
Yes.
FM be there because you don't need to move it around.
Then it can be controlling all
it
the
can be
other
controllable
things.
because you understand.
From a
Just
central
one.
point.
You see,
The derby,
Yes.
derby,
It has to-
derby have you need VAR in that derby because there's a lot of things. Not Gomez need to decide for us. Sorry,
you said that
All right, Tim.
before you
finish off
even
with-
talk about installing the VAR,
Yeah.
I can assure you, you have the challenge of training these referees
Yes.
That's
to use the
Yes,
system.
yes.
Now, if they are even failing to interpret the simple rules now,
They'll still chow you there.
it's a problem.
That's what you need.
And
the
then
VAR
we're
to go
gonna
check
have
if you're not sure.
the international
No.
the international football
If you're not really sure.
board to come
VAR is
and
not definite. VAR is based on the interpretation.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Of
it's
the
not.
referee.
It's not. Before you close the chapter, I just want to come say. I just want to say that firstly, for Morocco, we should have the approval. They should have the approval of CAF.
yeah.
They should have the approval of CAF before they can install it there.
Yeah.
Not even CAF, it's the International Football Federation Board.
No, international
FIFA.
football. I don't believe in them because
CAF is your people.
there's a lobby that is pushing VAR. Those people
Okay.
are making money
Yes.
out of these things.
Yes.
You just mentioned the figure. So you think that money comes to our clubs here?
It's a business.
It goes there. It's a
Yeah,
business.
it's a business.
They're
to
just
try-
pushing
they
it.
want to roll out this.
Yes,
this
now
VAR.
we're living.
to-
What did they say when they introducing VAR? I've been against VAR since day one, so I don't like it.
No, Manchester United. Let's go. It's very good.
What did they say?
rubbing
when
up the
they
emotion.
come with the VAR, they say that no, it will help the referees.
It's
But
putting-
today,
it's
what
putting
we
them-
see
Yes.
that VAR is
putting
taking
them
all
in
the
this-
decisions. So we have misplaced the problem from the pitch to technology.
All right, gentlemen, that is a topic for another day. Let's move on to, I think this is a topic that will just close it nicely for us. It is hashtag Frun Sports. I hope you are enjoying this show as much as we are having these heated debates here. Now, gentlemen, last but not least, we left it for a purpose to close shop. It is the issue of Kalusha failing that integrity test. Let me start with you, Jeff. You wrote an article about this, very good article.
Yeah.
But now, can't we say that rules are rules? Kalusha comes back to try to put his name into the hat. He fights for the nomination. He wants that nomination letter. He gets everything done. He's nominated. But now, the ethics committee of FAS says that, wait a minute, Mr. Bwalya, you cannot, this integrity test, you failed it, together with, I think, about 2-3 more people that also wanted to contest these elections next month. So is Kalusha disqualified or is he in? Because there was also some reports that FIFA was coming in as well, asking him so many questions about things that happened before. Of course, it is the issue of the Nike kit, where the contract there when you were still president. So many things that are coming
Why
out.
FIFA is coming back again because
Yes.
FIFA had his share. They should have asked him a lot of questions about those
That
things.
time when they
that
actually-
time, yes.
So is he in or not?
yeah.
I want to hear from you, Jeff.
Jeff, they
Yeah.
did ask him questions,
Mm.
and he didn't pass them.
Yeah,
He was banned.
yeah.
They reduced his sentence.
Mm.
But that did not exonerate him
Yeah.
from the facts of corruption.
Mhm.
So his integrity
Mhm.
is still in tatters.
Yes, but when it comes to
What is happening now?
to FAS statute, the integrity check was not there in the statute.
Okay. When did
So
it
it
come?
was implemented on the 1st of February 2020.
Oh, no.
Yes.
They were implemented on the 1st of February.
Yes, that was
2020.
yes.
So,
2020.
so Jeff,
Yes.
was
Wait.
the implementation
Wait.
of the statutes according to the FAS regulations in
No.
the General Assembly?
No, the General Assembly, actually they were supposed to elect the people to come and
I think 6
vote.
months before, right?
Yes, to vote for that.
Electoral-
But
electoral
they did
committee.
select people who can come and do it.
So they,
They,
didn't-
they are in
they
breach
need to
of,
vote.
Yes, they are
They-
in breach
they are
of
appointed.
Article 12 of
FAS.
FAS statute.
So how does all these things, gentlemen, affect now this disqualification?
Yes, I'm coming there. I'm
Kalusha?
coming
yes,
there.
please.
Though the ethics committee was established, But Article 58 of the same FAS statute say that the member that was passed on the 1st of February, the members that compose that committee should go under integrity checks themselves, which they didn't do.
They didn't do.
Yes.
Okay.
Which they didn't do.
Yes.
So they are in violation of that
Yes,
particular statute,
yes.
because they said that the ethics committee should comply with the Article 71, 74, 75 of FIFA Code of Ethics, which wasn't done in Zambia.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Continue.
thirdly, there are 3 people now.
Yes.
The head of the ethical committees, he said that Kalusha Bwalya is not disqualified because he has been disqualified for other reasons.
For other reasons, yes.
Yes, that's what he
Yes.
said. But that's Cephas Katongo. And now we have Ronald Hantongo. He is now the chairman of the electoral committee.
Yes.
He said that I was given what to say.
By who?
And now the third is now Andrew Kamanga himself. He thinks that he runs business like his boutique. And he says that no, Kalusha is banned.
Okay.
So
Banned by
3
who?
people
But-
coming
okay.
with 3 different
but
reasons.
all that said and
Yeah.
all articulated by Mr. Jeff, as we stand now, does Kalusha Bwalya pass the integrity test?
No, we couldn't say. Because first of all, it's not supposed to be there, because the people who were interviewing him, they didn't go through integrity checks themselves.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
So-
With all these things happening,
And now the Kamanga has been given a FAS, has been given because Kalusha has approached them with an appeal. So his lawyers have given FAS 24 hours to respond to reinstate him.
to reinstate him. Okay, let me bring you here. Velile. All these shenanigans happening. I mean, we're not surprised. When there are elections, we know that these things tend to happen. There are loopholes in all these statutes. Someone wants to capitalize and all those kind of things. Lawyers come into play and so forth. But at the end of the day, Velile, it's Kalusha Bwalya who was found guilty as charged. No matter how the sentencing was reduced or not reduced now, and now there's this issue of him. You look at these achievements, you look at where Zambia is right now, removing everything but still remaining with this cloud under Kalusha. We know the Zambians, they love Kalusha, they love him dearly, and we know that in the same ring with Kamanga in this present state of football in Zambia, there's no way that Kamanga is going to win that election against Kalusha. But the thing is, how do we put everything together? How do we endorse where we are now neutrals as a Kalusha who his integrity was found wanting?
Is he the first official who has served his sentence and found himself now free to come back? Is he the first one?
I don't think.
Especially in Africa.
I
Yes,
don't
is-
think it's the first one.
It's not the first one.
There are so
You
many.
know,
Even Jacques Anoma now
Yes.
was also contesting. You know.
Okay.
So why now should FAS introduce rules in football which are only applicable to FAS, which are not there at CAF, they're not there at FIFA? Because as a member of FIFA, whatever they do, it should be in line with the motherboard. And exactly.
And
So-
he's a member of the technical committee.
But
at
integrity
CAF.
tests, are they not
No.
also at CAF and FIFA level?
No, what I'm saying is now he's not banned.
yeah,
You understand?
But you know,
At the moment.
Yes, as things stand,
we need
he's not been banned from football.
But we need to be very clear.
He's
know?
clean.
He's clean.
He's
no,
clean.
no,
He served his sentence.
no.
He served his sentence.
I disagree
Okay.
with that.
No, I want to come to you,
he's served
Tim.
the
I want to
sentence.
come to you in the
You-
sense
you
that
understand?
yeah,
So now
Verily, when you serve a sentence, it does not exonerate you from the corruption you involved in. So your integrity is still in tatters.
no, but
Yes.
wait.
Yes.
Tim, the issue here is banned now.
Yeah, no, it's not banned.
So
he's free to run.
He's free to run.
No,
and also
no, the question is-
here.
what are
you
they-
see,
what are-
Elasto,
what are they
what
doing?
is at play here?
What-
What is at play here? We know the lengths at which an incumbent will go.
Yeah, no,
will go to.
that has happened.
When he knows that
Well,
he's up against a formidable opponent,
But
and he is in control of the machinery now,
yeah,
and he will use everything in his power to make sure that this doesn't happen. As you have said, to make sure that Kalusha's name doesn't go into that ballot
Yeah.
paper. True. Because if he goes, these are the strategies.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
They happen every
yes,
time.
I remember.
But
I remember even when we were dealing with SAFA elections.
Safa election.
Some elections. It's a
These are the same
change the
similar
number of years.
issues.
They say,
You know,
no, they must
these are the
change.
similar issues.
Yeah, sure.
When Issa Hayatou
It did that. as well.
decided that.
think it was
Now
the
I understand that even here at home at SAFA, apparently they want to introduce this, that only those members, of the council or executive,
Can
you know,
vote.
You see,
it was only because there was this plan now where Ahmad, because he's inside there. In fact, Ahmad was not even the one who was
No,
supposed.
he was not supposed to.
Yes,
No.
it was because some guys around were close to Hayatou
Yeah.
and decided, no, I don't know. And then
yes.
It was
Ahmad said-
Constant Omari.
Yes.
It was Constant Omari, but he didn't want to betray his
Yes.
mentor.
True.
And
You know,
the one
so-
who was picked, it was Danny Jordan, but he was not member of the executive.
of the executive.
All right,
yes.
let me bring in Greg Itafia here. Your thoughts on this, Greg? When somebody has committed a crime,
Yeah.
now he has to come back to this important position. We know that there are so many, like what Vedle has alluded to,
Yeah.
that you have done wrong,
Yeah.
but they've come back. It's like you're questioning Nyantachi. If he's banned for life, let him not start touching.
Not that
but
one.
but I'm just saying that
Yeah.
when these officials in very important office, their integrity is questionable, and they are found guilty.
Yeah.
So when they come back again, should they be given another opportunity, or we should just park them aside and look for somebody else?
For now, I don't think Zambia really have somebody else apart from Kalusha, for my own opinion,
Okay.
because and Zambia football is important. Is very important than two groups or two camps. Because what I'm seeing in Zambia football now, there's a lot of camps
So look beyond what Kalusha has done.
and fix and
Put
fix it.
him back. He's the only one who can revive.
He
football in Zambia.
has proved.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
He has proved it before, you know, with
Yeah.
Africa.
So-
after that,
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Because I don't have time.
Yeah, but
Timothy, what precedent would we set when we say now to future leaders, and we say here's a Kalusha who has a well-decorated a football career, no doubt about that, achievements that is done and so forth. But this issue, how do we go past beyond it without actually kind of endorsing and say you are allowed to do some bribery acts, but when you get a sentence, you save it, we can still restore you back, especially with challenges on the African continent when it comes to administration, when it comes to corruption. Not Africa only, I think everywhere. FIFA, we saw the indictment 20 what? I think it was 2016 or somewhere there. We saw the likes of Michel Platini. It's not only here on the African continent, but how now do we promote a corruption-free sport when we say, but this guy is done well and he's the only one? What Craig Itafia is saying is the only one. Are we not setting a dangerous precedent?
It's very dangerous. Yes, I know that when you are banned and you serve your sentence, the aim is to correct you, to put you right back in the right path.
Yes.
But I would love to hear him or anyone involved to own up.
Okay.
When you do own up, it makes a difference. It's like, yes, you are banned, you serve the sentence, but I'd love you to stand on a podium and say, listen, this is what happened.
I did.
I'm more reformed. Can you trust me again with the leadership of any organization to move forward? Then we can feel that, yes, indeed, you can take us to another level. But if I'm to make a choice, we shouldn't set a wrong precedent, because if it's corruption, it's corruption. If you break the laws, you've broken the laws. You serve the pub. You're out.
But my problem.
Okay.
And I've said this on this very same platform before. On what he was found guilty of.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, he was found guilty. But the current CAF president. He was also accused.
Yeah, this
Same
is
thing.
this
But-
is why.
of the very same thing.
But you know this.
No.
For
So this is why for me
it doesn't-
to
no,
really
no.
accept
For me-
what goes on
for me-
in that FIFA
Okay,
ethics
Tim, we'll come
committee.
to you.
you know what is interesting is
No. You see,
The issue is-
you
so
see,
he was
the issue here.
accused-
The issue here.
he was accused
we-
but not found guilty. They are two different things. He was accused of taking bribes, getting
No.
watches.
He has never been judged.
He's never been judged.
He's never been
He's
judged.
never been judged. No, he's never been
He's
judged.
never been judged. He's never been judged. No, he has never been
So,
judged.
you know what happened to Bility?
No.
You know what happened to Bility?
No, he has never been judged.
We were told that Bility
harmless
was
gift.
found guilty in February.
Timothy, thank you very
But
much.
nothing happened. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Alright,
And then
gentlemen.
up until
No, well-
he was not
Again,
seeing things the same
Alright.
way
Can I hear from
with FIFA
yes,
and
very-
CAF,
very
then
last-
the following day, Bility.
yeah.
Yes,
And last,
close
when you say
Tim,
that,
let me-
When you
let
are
me-
found, you see
Yeah.
this is what is interesting. If you're a group of people attempting to be corrupt, or you accept to be corrupted, then your integrity is tainted. So at a certain time, when somebody is interested in your personality, it may come up until you own up. So at this moment in time, he was found guilty and charged. So whatever integrity tests they have put forward to him, if it involves corruption, then he fails.
All right, can
Yeah.
you please close it for us?
yes, what I want to say that when you say that he didn't own up, he did, because
Okay.
when he was given the letter was published. I've got a copy of the letter
Yes.
here. So he did it with
Okay.
newspapers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you say that, I heard you saying to Greg
Greg,
that
yes.
you say that there's only Kalusha, but there are 4 candidates that have been put aside with Kalusha, but they only talk about Kalusha.
Okay.
Yeah, which means that
Yes.
he's got something. He represents something for Zambia.
All right.
And when you say that he has to own up, he has to serve his sentence. In society, we have to give a second chance.
Second chance. All right.
To each and everyone. You see now, when the democratic wind came
Yes.
in Africa,
Yes.
the president of Benin, who was Machu Kereku,
Yes.
he was taken out, and they put a new guy, Nisofo Soglo. Not even 2 years. They asked the former to come back.
All right. We've come to the end of the show. This is African football. Jeff Katala says Kalusha Bwalya deserves a second chance.
On that note,
The latest.
let me update you
Yes, update us, please.
that Man United is up against Club Brugge. And Pesita is starting.
And Igalo.
Igalo, Dololo.
No, all right.
If you're playing for,
And Dennis, the Nigerian, has just scored.
if you're playing for
wow.
Manchester,
Belgians.
I'm playing for FC.
All right, gentlemen. Okay, we've come to the end of our show. We want to thank you. Hopefully, yes, you enjoyed the show. This is African football, wherever you are. Greg Tiaf, thank you. Jeff Katala, thank you very much. Velile Mnyandu, thank you very much. So as Timothy Batabaire. Gentlemen, until we meet again, you who was listening from wherever you are, stay tuned to This is African Football. Until we meet again, same time, same platform. Good night.